Hey guys, welcome back to Hustlin' Horsepower. So, in this episode, the car owner slash driver was now promoted to engine builder. Okay, so I guess that's how it goes, right? So, yeah. So a lot of people ask like, where did I learn this stuff and so on and so forth, and I'll get into those videos down the road. But long story short, I had a hot rod, well, built a hot rod, and then then you gotta start learning stuff, right? So like, I became my own chassis guy and my own fabrication guy and my own engine builder, and I've thrown my fair share of transmissions together and so on and so forth. And along the ways, this is the stuff that you'll need to learn how to do if you're gonna try to race somewhat competitively on a budget, because we can't afford to have someone else doing our engine work. We can't afford someone else to do our chassis work, and there's a lot of people that we race with that do that, and there's a lot of people that we race with that still do it how we do it, I guess you can say, at least to an extent of how we do it. And that's not to say it this way or that way or anything else. And there's plenty of times that it'd be a whole lot easier if we were able just to pay someone. But in this episode, we're going to be throwing this episode. I guess that's the way we can call it now, since we're YouTube superstars. No. So, in this video, we're going to be throwing together our twin turbo big block Chevy. And I got it to a short block so far. So, we're going to go through the process, and I'm going to walk you through that step. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to try to get this video out tonight. I just had a quick 10-minute dinner, and some of you guys said you wanted out a video tonight, so I'm going to try to get one together for you. But in the next video, we'll do like degreeing the cam and stuff like that. Sorry, I'm not going to degree the cam on this motor because I've already had it apart and I already have it set up. So we'll do that when we get the new motors together and get our stuff back from the machine shop. But guys, like and subscribe to the channel. You could hit that little bell notification thing if you want to see more videos. And guys, like always, I greatly appreciate it. And also, we're looking for 4-inch big block Chevy crank, good ones, spread rail oil pan, 400 raised, Jessel belt drive system, 4-post lift, and a 33 to 35 Dodge pickup truck, in any shape or parts and pieces to a 33 to 35 Dodge pickup truck, because I'd rather build one of those than the one that we're going to be starting on here real soon. So this is for Turbo John's Mustang, and we're going to slap this baby back together. We got the short block together. We got the short block together, but this video we're going to go through the details of how we went about and do that. Hey guys, welcome back to the Hustlin' Horsepower channel. Rexy's gonna get some dinner, and we're gonna get to working on a motor here shortly for this guy here. As you saw in the last video, this crankshaft is cracked. I'm gonna go get the other crankshaft that is sitting in the spool bus and bring it up here. And I just saw a comment saying, hey, can you tell us or show us the verification about the dinging and the danging, or dinging and dong, or whatever the hell you want to call it. So, as you saw in the last video, when I hit this thing, there was like a dong, a dong, a dong, a ding dong, and a ding and a ding. So, there was a crack up in here. And then after further examination, sure enough, I found the crack in there. And I didn't see it cracked before that, but hey, you could take it for what it's worth. So this is a decently forged crank, but it's not a good crank. We're still in search of a 4-post lift, a 4-inch steel crank, and then some other good parts too. So we'll include those. I think we're going to include some of that stuff in the next videos as part of trying to source some stuff, because COVID right now makes things difficult, and manufacturing processes and everything like that slow everything down. So Rex is finishing up dinner, and I'm going to get a short block together tonight, I think. As you can see. Pet's ice cream. Pet, like a dog. Ice cream is phenomenal. We're not sponsored, but hey, if you own that type of ice cream and you want to sponsor us, you let us know. And you mix a little bit of that chocolate with a black sweet cherry. It's pretty damn good. A scoop of each. Right?
If you like cherry. He tried telling me.
It doesn't.
He tried telling me it would be heaven in my mouth, but I don't like black cherry.
It doesn't matter. See, there's certain things that, like, you know.
No, it did. I still wasn't a fan of it.
She's lying to you, folks.
I like the chocolate, just not the cherry.
The chocolate ice cream is phenomenal. And then you mix it with the cherry also. And it's almost like, if you ever had that scoop of, like, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry or whatever the heck it was. What was
like,
that?
Yeah, the Neapolitan.
The Neapolitan. Like the little Nash. If you take a little scoop of that, like, across it, so you get, like,
a little bit of each.
Yeah, a little bit each.
I don't
it's
like
pretty
that
good.
stuff, the strawberry or whatever that is. I don't like it either.
I'm not a big fan of strawberry, but strawberry either. But when you get the chocolate, the vanilla, and the strawberry, it's good. Shut up. I'm a worker, not a talker, okay? That's why I'm not good at this YouTube stuff. That's why I'm not a YouTube superstar.
It's like me telling you
Well,
this
Rex,
with ranch on it.
Rex can follow this whole piece of plate all around the shop like he's probably on his third lap by now. But as soon as I put the camera down there, he goes and hides, and he either hides under the Cummins powered Power Stroke. No. Cummins powered Power Wagon, either the future COE Duramax, or maybe the twin turbo Chevy 2 project over there, or maybe the Dodge, or maybe the Land Speed car over there. All cars that these guys are working on in the shop here during the day. So, guys, we appreciate it, and we're going to start assembling a motor here shortly. Want to explain what we're doing?
Torquing down the bolts on the rods, because you're going to put it. I actually don't know much about how that machine works.
Well, you can.
But he's going to measure the thing, right?
He's going to measure the big end bore on the rods. So now that we had a rod bearing go bad, you could have a little bit of heat, and if they're eccentric or not perfectly round, we're going to take out rod bearings in another couple passes. So we got a couple rods and pistons that we keep underneath our master bedroom.
We literally sleep in a bed, and underneath the bed is our spare rods and pistons.
So since with that crankshaft break, crack the crankshaft and get a couple rod bearings. Luckily, I was able to catch it before it spun, some way, somehow. Maybe a little bit of luck, maybe not, because maybe it's not complete luck because I caught it twice now. But I'm not good at multitasking. We're gonna measure the big end bore on the rods. So if they're eccentric, you're not gonna have equal pressure on the rod bearing, and you'll have hard spots and soft spots or whatever, and it ain't gonna be good. So we'll knock rod bearings out of this thing again. And although we're working on getting our good motor together,
Put it the other way. I was wondering what you were doing.
although we're working on getting the new motors together, this is what we got to use for a while. So don't get me wrong, this is a good piece, very good piece, plenty good to make a couple thousand horsepower with. It ain't all of our brand new stuff, but eventually we'll have our brand new stuff. So you could bring them over there, Red.
He wants to keep it all-wheel drive. That's the impossible part.
Oh.
Can you explain a little bit how this works?
I was hoping I didn't have to, but it's just
making sure the big end's round.
yeah. All this is basically a bore checking gauge. This one's a lot better than the other one. The other one was 2/1000 out around.
Well, there's some metal in this one where you can see it transferred from the bearing. So
Yeah, that one's only
this
about
one's
7
pretty
tenths.
clean. See, that one doesn't have much of a deposit. This one
Oh, yeah.
had some.
Alright, let me get the others.
What? Grab another.
And just set the other one right here. I got them.
Okay. So ideally it would just be a smooth fit over that?
If we just got done and honing them, it'd be the same size. Right now I'm checking from parting line to parting line.
Okay.
It's kind of hard because you'll fall in the groove. And now I'm checking this way to this way.
Okay.
That one's not too bad for a ran rod. That's about 4/10.
4/10 of 1 thou, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So 4/10 of 1,000th of an inch. So that's pretty close to round.
That one wouldn't explain too much about.
This one was about thousands. 2 thou?
Yeah.
I think that was
one with the
what
nail.
was that, number 7
Yeah.
or 8?
Do you stamp them anywhere?
There,
There was
2.
a black Sharpie on them.
Number 2.
It's engraved. It says number 2, but I don't know if it's your number 2 or not.
This one's out about 1.5 thou total. It's 5/10 tight that way, and the parting line is about 7/10 big. If I stay out of the groove, nope. Must have some taper in it too. It's hard to do with the piston in there. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
6/10. So, because you can't let the weight of the rod manipulate it.
Yeah, that one's the one he said was.
Yeah, see how it's cooked? It's got heat in it.
Yeah.
The heat deforms it. Okay guys, today we're going to be putting the motor together. I got all the main bearings in it and went through, cleaned up the block. That's all good. Then went through and just used some, rubbing alcohol. Clean up all the area underneath the bearings here. And then the rear main seal here, this is a 2-piece rear main seal because it's a Mark IV big block. Oh, sorry, don't mind that. Welding. Cooked myself a little bit. Actually burnt myself right through a Carhartt hoodie. And then it started cooking here, and then I stopped welding because I couldn't breathe no more. Turns out I was on fire. But yeah, so this 2-piece rear main seal, and we actually offset these a little bit, so when I put it in there, it's actually going to be in there kind of like so, just so that this and this aren't on the same plane. I've talked about that previously in other videos. But there's a taper on here. I'll go pull out. You can see that there's a, I don't know if you can see it overly well. There's a taper. There's a taper on there. You can see it on that side. There's a taper there, and that taper always goes towards the center of the motor, because if there's any pressure inside here, it just puts more pressure on the seal, and the seal actually will flex a little bit, put more pressure on the rear crank on that sealing surface there. So I got the lowers in. I'm gonna lather them up a little bit with some. We got some 2050 Hot Shots oil, and put some oil on these, and then we'll set the crank in there, and we'll start putting the main bearings on, or the main caps on, starting in the center, working our way out. Just make sure it sits in there nice and flat. We'll get them all sit down to probably like 20-30 foot-pounds. Then we'll start torquing them down and rotating the crank and making sure it spins nice and freely. Make sure there's no binding or anything like that. And when you go through and do one crank or one rod cap at a time, torquing it down, if there's any additional resistance, more so than what should be, it's kind of you'll feel it if there's one wrong. You know you have an issue, but this motor's already been together. We should be able to just slap it together with no issues. So yeah, it's not a new build. We're just putting the crank back in it, so we should be in good shape. Like I said in the last video, that crankshaft, all 4 rod journals were broke on it, all cracked. So that's why we went through some rod bearings twice, both at Dig or Die and Shady Side. Today they're racing at US 60 up in Kentucky, which is a big race, but we probably could have gotten this thing together before then, but it's a 9-hour drive, and we just don't have the car lined out enough to go try to compete with 60 other cars that have a whole lot of passes on them and a whole lot of testing on them. So it's a cool event to go to. I wish we could have been there. We debated about just going out there to spectate, but we got too many stakes in the fire that we're trying to maintain. So just wasn't worth heading out there this time. So guys, the chassis guy screwed up and didn't realize we had a YouTube channel. So as he was putting this motor together, he didn't do no videos. So, of course, we checked a couple of the rings, made sure that the tolerances, the gap in the rings was adequate, and they're good enough. And then also, when you got to orientate the piston rings. We run a 3-ring pack, so there's a compression ring, then some people call it a second compression ring, but it's actually an oil scraper. It helps clean the oil, the splashed oil, off the cylinder walls, so that the upper ring, the compression ring, can seal. And then you got the oil ring. That's there's an oil expander, and then there's 2 little scraper rings on it, and that keeps all the oil, helps keep the oil in check. Okay, now you orientate those rings in a certain direction depending on if it's on this side of the motor or this side of the motor. So like on the compression side, because of the way the motor rotates, the compression ring is at the top. On this side, the compression ring is actually at the bottom, the gap on it. That reason is because the way the oil splashes up in the up into the cylinder bores as the motor's rotating. Okay, now the cam's in it, but we're not going to really index this cam because I've already indexed it, and I know that I could just put it in heads up and that it's like right, because it's already been done before. This motor's already been together. So like I said earlier in the video, when we go to put the new motor together, and it's going into the new project, we'll go through that whole process of really assembling a motor through the whole from the start, where you go through and you check bearing clearances and so on and so forth, and make sure you go through and make sure that the valve train geometry is proper and all the rest of that stuff. But for this motor's already been together, okay? And I'm gonna say that a couple times in this video because the YouTube geniuses are gonna try to ridicule, try to talk and say things were well, whatever. But this motor's already been together, okay? Like people throw crankshafts in motors at the racetrack, okay? You throw rods and pistons in the thing in between rounds. It's not abnormal stuff. I know some of these people don't like, or some of y'all don't like understand that, but it's pretty common, okay? Like when you're top fuel racing, you throw a set of pistons in the thing like every pass, okay? Rods and pistons and rings every pass, okay? So like, yes, they're going through stuff every pass, right? But at the same time, some of this stuff you have to be very, very particular with, and other things, like if it's been together before, it's not overly crucial because it just ain't. It's already been together. So as long as you check things and verify things as you go through the process like I did, everything will be just fine. So we'll go through and put in this other video probably just before this little segment of where we checked all the rods, made sure they were all circular and not eccentric, and make sure everything's good there. But this sucker turns over pretty smooth. No issues there. So we'll be in good shape.